What is up, Iowa State sports fans? Welcome to the second ever episode of the student section. We are just 2 days away from college football, 9 days away from the start of Iowa State football. I cannot wait for this. Nathan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. The season keeps getting closer and closer, and the excitement gets more and more every single day, so I'm ready.
Taten, how about you?
Yeah, super ready for the season. This weekend's going to be a blast, getting some games in, and then ready to get the real season rolling next week with Iowa State football.
Awesome. So today we have a very interesting show. I'm going to hand it off to Nathan, who's going to host this. So yeah, Nathan, tell us what's going on today.
Yeah, so today we're talking a lot about the position groups and the individual players in the position groups, just, previewing the upcoming season. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to have a wheel. And I can just show you guys right now, actually, make it easier. We're going to have a wheel here, and we're going to spin the wheel. And every single time we spin the wheel, it's going to give us one player. And whoever's turn it is, between me, Taten, Lucca, are going to start talking about that position and about the depth and the starters that we can expect there. And then we'll get into a little bit of just discussion if we have anything else to say. And yeah.
Let's get straight into it.
It's going to be a blast.
All right. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
All right. Lucca, you are going first. And the first position group is going to be...
Let's see it.
Safety. It's a good one.
Safety. Interesting. Now, I'll be honest, this is a very tough one because safety, they don't have a lot of great players now. If you guys know, Braden Alls transferred in over the offseason. He was supposed to be like the dynamic defender, not even just safety, but honestly one of the best players on the roster. Unfortunately, I believe he tore his ACL, and he's out for the season. So very, very unfortunate stuff for Iowa State. But with that being said, they do have Drew Surgis, who I believe is a returner from last year. He was pretty impactful for them. I think he's going to be one of the better players on the defense. I like him a lot. And then also he's the strong safety. In that free safety, they have Deron Goodman, another guy that returns. I mean, I still want to see a lot more from Goodman, but not a bad player at all. And overall, this is just a decent safety group. I mean, I don't know if there's another group on this roster that has both returners from last year. I mean, there are very few in general. So really cool to see, a couple guys with Surgis and Goodman come back. And yeah, I think the safety room will be decent. I don't think it's anything great. But yeah, it's not bad at all. Big fan of Surgis, and yeah.
Yeah, I think when Alls tore his ACL, that was like one of the biggest hits that Iowa State took on the defensive side of the ball because I was so high on him coming out of Toledo. And then also like he followed his position coach because his position coach at Toledo is now the pass game coordinator for Iowa State. So, I mean, he was going to play a bunch. But you mentioned Drew Surgis. I'm pretty high on him. Came in as a walk-on. So it's a really good story to see a walk-on from 23 start getting more and more reps as a senior.
And then also, at that position group, I don't want to, he could be a starter. He could be a rotational guy, but Micah Harper there at the free safety spot. I think that, the transfer from Montana did a lot of good things there at Montana during his career. Just looking to finish off the career at Iowa State, I think that he could make some big plays for the Cyclones back there, especially because, like you said, it's a questionable group right now. We don't know exactly who the starters are going to be, and a lot of things could be worked out throughout the season.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Taten, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Might as well.
All right. So no more safety on the board, but we got a lot left. So let's get to it. You got... this one should be short.
Tight end. Well, of course, you got to take a look at the new transfer in. Tyler Fortenberry. I mean, obviously, all eyes are on him from Arkansas State. Was Rainer's one of his top targets from last year. I'm excited to see him come into to Iowa State. Iowa State's traditionally over the last 5 years grown some really great tight ends. You look at Charlie Kohler. You look at I'm blanking on some more names, but there definitely is more. Yeah, exactly. So tons of different tight ends that have built great careers at Iowa State, and I think Fortenberry has an opportunity to do something like that. Obviously, transferring in, he's not going to have as much time, but I still think that him at that position is going to be exciting to watch this year, especially because of him and Rayner's old connections.
Yeah, and then I just wanted to add real quick. I think that Fortenberry, especially early on in the season, is going to be really important because the reality is Rayner is playing with a bunch of guys that are transferring in, with a bunch of guys he doesn't really know too well. Having Fortenberry as a side, as a tight end, you're typically like the shoulder you can rely on if you need it, and I think that he's definitely going to be a shoulder they have to rely on this year. He also had a fantastic second half to the year last year, so I think using that momentum a little bit will be great for Fortenberry.
Yeah, and you mentioned like relying on him. I think that tight end is one of those positions that the quarterbacks like as like a safety valve or someone that they know is going to be there. And again, with that connection, especially coming over from Arkansas State together, and then you look at Jimmy Rogers at Washington State, used quite a bit of tight end. I believe, yeah, Trey Leekner was the guy's name. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it was one of his most popular receivers on the team was the tight end position. So just like pairing that with the connection that's already there with Jalen Rayner is definitely something that I'm looking for. And with that, I guess I will be going next. So let me pull this right back up. Also, Greenlaw, I do like a lot as like a blocker and more of a developmental guy.
Yeah, that was another big transfer pickup.
Yeah, from Hampton. Who
Yeah.
would have thought Hampton?
Hampton,
right.
Iowa State.
I will be getting. Ooh, special teams. All right. So, I don't even know where to start here. I probably will start then with just the kicker, obviously Kyle Crenardi. You can't like negate how important he is to this team. He's going to be a huge role player. I mean, you saw him hit the crazy field goal against Iowa. That was like the intro to Kyle Crenardi, and then he hits another 54-yarder against Iowa in the following year. And he's a great kicker besides the Iowa series too. A lot of people look at the Cyhawk and you feel like, oh, Kyle Crenardi is going to be their kryptonite. But besides that, he's very accurate in other games as well. He's not just there for rivalries. And I think he takes a big step this year. He's got one of the biggest legs, I think, in the Big 12 and
In the
potentially
country,
in
I would
college
say.
football. Yeah, exactly. And he's very underrated in the country as well. But yeah, Kyle Crenardi for sure. Special teams, though, is more than just a kicker, obviously. So returners, Cameron Pedway, who I am very bullish on at running back, is very elusive, very quick, really good first step, and I think is going to be a really dynamic returner. And then you pair him with Aiden Flora, who's been on this team for 2 years now. Was he? I think, yeah, 2 years, 1 year. And it's going to be a really dynamic kick return, and I think one of the better kick returns we've seen in the last couple of years.
Yeah, just to bounce off that real quick, I love Flora. I love Pedaway. Flora is going to be the punt returner, but I like them both as kick returners. Pedaway was, I think, a better kick returner than running back last year. I don't even think you debate that. He was like, I think he was an All-American freshman in terms of kick returning. Yeah, it was fantastic.
I was going to add on, I was watching, I'm getting so ready for the college football season. I was watching some highlights from last year earlier today. One of the first ones was a Cam Pedaway breakaway kick return for a score. I think it was Bowling Green's opening kickoff of the opening kickoff of the season.
The tone.
I'm super excited to see what he's got to bring to the table, especially because we saw Flora return last year and he had some really electric returns. Both of them are going to be fun to watch. Like you said, Flora will probably take more of that punt return role, and Pedaway will be the kick returner. But you never know; things could change up. May need to switch them throughout the season, depending on what the running back depth chart even looks like, because we're not even 100% sure what that is. Yeah. But it's super exciting to think about what we've got for those two at the return position.
Yeah, and like it or not, I mean, I think special teams is one of the better parts of this team. Not a lot of people think about special teams when you're thinking of how good a team is, but especially in like the Big 12 when they have these games against Baylor, Kansas State, the games that are going to be 50-50s, it's going to be the field goals that come down to it.
100%. I'm with
I'm
you on
happy we
that.
have Kyle already.
Yeah.
All right,
100%.
back to you, Luca.
All right.
What are we hoping for? You got
I
any
love the wide
hopes?
receiver room. Love it.
Okay.
Love to talk some wide receivers here, but we'll see.
It doesn't look like you're gonna get your wish.
Oh, I love the
Another
edge
good
rush.
room though.
I'd say that's also an interesting group.
Sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much better than that. I mean, I'll start
No, it
with, in
doesn't.
my opinion, the best player in the football team, Isaac Terrell, Bobby Terrell. He had 7 sacks last year for Washington State. He was fantastic. Now he's going into a new situation. You're probably like, oh, well, is he going to be able to keep it up? Well, guess what? He's over with the head coach. He's over with the defense coordinator and Jesse Bobbitt. He's going to do just fine. He's great. They have another edge rusher who also came from Washington State, Malachi Taase. He's fantastic as well. Had 2.5 sacks last year for the Cougars. Also comes with Bobbitt and Rogers. Then you also have Caden Crawford. Now, every time I say a good word about Caden Crawford on Twitter, I get hate from Iowa fans because he didn't really play there. That's not how it works. He did really good at the FCS level last year at South Dakota State, I believe. He's coming back. He's a much better football player than he was 2 years ago. Iowa fans, I don't want to hear it. I think the edge rushing group is the best players on this football team.
And outside of Jace Gilbert, who's way back there, every single edge rusher on the team now listed on the roster as a transfer. So I think it's going to be interesting to see them how they kind of grow together as a group. A lot of seniors on this group, a lot of guys who have the experience. It's a very experience heavy position as well at edge. You need a really, really good veteran edge, and I think that the Cyclones may have gotten in some transfers. It's going to be interesting to see this year.
Yeah, and to Iowa's chagrin, maybe Caden Crawford is someone I'm pretty high on. Um, Maybe it takes just leaving, dirty Iowa City, going to the FCS, getting some more reps, and developing your game, and then going to the great Ames to kick off your FBS career all over again. So I like Caden Crawford. I mean, he dominated in the FCS, and obviously there's a level of you know that he has to jump up to going to the FBS, but the level he was playing is definitely transferable if he
100%.
wants. So, yeah, I like the edge room a lot. So,
That's,
and
I think, the
Tatener,
best room on the team.
yeah, for sure,
Mhm.
for sure, a lot of depth too.
Yeah.
So, Taten, are you thinking you might get wide receiver then, or?
I mean, I definitely would take wide receiver. I'd also like to talk about the O lineman. I'm really excited. I know that it might be there's a lot of new faces in that group, but I think they're kind of fun to
I think
talk
the O
about.
line's better than people think.
I think so
Yeah.
too.
It's not great, but it's better than people think.
The O line's always been
Oh,
kind of rough. And
definitely.
look
wow,
at that!
speak of it,
Look at
speak of
that!
it. Perfect. Just what I was getting ready to talk about. So for the offensive line, like I said, this year it's a lot of transfers, a lot of moving pieces. But the one thing I am really excited for, the biggest thing I'm excited for, is Garrett Rutledge. Maybe this is a little bit of Southwest Iowa bias. He's from a Hawkeye 10 school, Lewis Central, but Garrett Rutledge is a redshirt sophomore. He's been on the roster for the past 2 years. He's been a special teams guy, but he's listed as 6'7", 310 pounds. I mean, this is a big man who's going to finally get some reps in at the starting tackle as a starting tackle. I believe he's projected right tackle right now. I'm excited to kind of see what he can do after building on the roster for a few years. And then also the other position that really interests me is Braden Smith. Projected starting center right now. Obviously, your center's got to be dialed in every play. We'll see what he kind of is able to bring to the table there. And then the rest of the offensive linemen, I don't know a ton about, but Jake Taylor, Caden Mass, Colin Amick, all transfers, all projected starters. It's going to be kind of an interesting position group, but definitely some names to look out for.
Nathan, nothing from you?
I mean, at 15 FBS starts between all of them is definitely something that's worrisome.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I think this line is, you'll see a day one starting line, but you're not going to see that starting line 3 games later. I think it's going to be a lot of mixing and matching and trying to find that right combination throughout the season. One thing I will add though is Garrett Rutledge is a dog, and I can confirm firsthand. I did not have to go against him when it comes to like offense versus defense, but because I was a running back in high school, but I saw him and the Louis Central Titans sort of dog walk my Norwalk Warriors a couple times. So yeah, he's an intimidating human. He's a mountain of a man. Obviously, there's a lot of guys like that in FBS, but he's got the frame. I really hope he can develop it though. So, and also Jake Taylor coming from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
A lot of what I've looked into is a lot of injuries. I think has sort of derailed his career. So hopefully he can just stay healthy, and maybe a healthy Jake Taylor is what we need.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'll add real quick. I love Gavin Brocious from Michigan State, who is at actually a decent amount of starts at the Power Four level, which is something I can't say about the majority of this roster. And then I'm surprised none of you guys mentioned Masai King either. I like him a lot. He kind of broke into the starting lineup here and there at Akron. I like him a lot too. He's going to compete for the starting. I think he's a center, so potentially for a starting center spot. There's a lot of good guys on this O line now. Do they have a lot of talent? No, but there's a lot of decent, intriguing guys, which I think is kind of the story of this team overall.
The one thing I like about this group too is there is a lot of seniors, but there's also a lot of sophomores and juniors. So we could see some of these guys stay together for a few years, and it could build to a nice group depending on the transfer situation. Who knows? But we'll get it all sorted out as the years go.
Yeah, and a lot of the position groups are younger on this team. Like the linebacker room, a
Yes.
lot of sophomores.
Mm-hmm.
Cornerback room, there's a lot of young players there. So, I mean, depending on how the season goes, the future could be really bright. So I think that's a huge part of this team. But
I agree with that.
I will be going next. We're sort of dwindling this down faster and faster. But here we go. I don't really have a particular need that I want, but I'll take whatever, I suppose. Coaches. All right. This
Well,
one
this
will
could
be
be
interesting.
interesting.
This will be interesting.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, Jimmy Rogers. I mean, what he's the head coach. There's no competition there that we need to worry about. Coming over from Washington State, I initially was a little bit hesitant on the hire, but you look at his history and he's a winner in the FCS. He's won. He's a proven winner. He made the jump to FBS at Washington State, and you could see the success sort of leaking through there as well. The hop to the Big 12 though is another climb in his ladder that I don't know if how it's going to really end up. I think he's the type of coach that brings a winning mindset and is like the most football-y football guy I could think of that they could have hired. I do think he has the ability to sort of carry on the success that Matt Campbell had with the Cyclones, but I think it will take a year or two. Um, and I think he's a guy also that would stay for a while, which I like. I don't think that it would have been the right call to hire somebody that's sort of here just to coach a couple years and go on. I think they're trying to find their next Matt Campbell, their next TJ Otzelberger, someone that's going to stay here in the long run. So I do like Jimmy Rogers a lot there. And for the other coaches, really like defensive coordinator Bobbitt. Or wait, no, it's not Bobbitt. Yeah, it is Bobbitt. 15th best defense in the nation last year overall, and that's something that I think is going to be a huge identity of this team is the defense because a lot of the offense is unproven. I mean, we just talked about it with the offensive line. You don't know what we're really going to get on offense, but I think defense is going to be something that we're going to know the Iowa State Cyclones for in the upcoming years, and I think that Bobbitt and Rogers and all the players that they brought over from Washington State are going to be a huge reason because of that.
Yeah, hit the nail on the head with that one.
The only thing I was going to throw on is, you mentioned Bobbitt already, and I'm super excited to see what he kind of brings to the Iowa State defense. I mean, John Haycock did a great job running that defense for the past, been a while now. But the 3-4 was starting to get caught on to, I felt like, at the end of his career. And a lot of Big 12 teams especially were able to pick up on it and attack it in different ways. I'm excited to see what the new defensive schemes are going to look like for this new team.
I'm really hoping it's a lot more blitzes because I think that they have the skill and the players to do that. I just really hope that they actually take advantage of it.
I agree.
All right. Now we are going back to Lucca, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Who are you hoping for? We got not a lot left.
Still love wide receivers. But let's
Oh
see.
yeah,
I
they're
mean,
still there.
I like, like talking football. Any of them are
We
cool.
sticking with defense though for you. You got the
Ooh,
linebackers.
linebackers.
You,
Interesting.
you get the edge rushers and then the linebackers right next
There
to
Yeah,
you
them.
go.
How
you
about that?
got cornerbacks next. You're going all levels of defense.
So yeah, I mean, there's a couple guys that I want to talk about here now. Sullivan Schlimgen, I think is how you pronounce it. He came over from Washington State with Jesse Bobbitt as well. Now I may sound like a broken record, but that doesn't matter. I can't recall the exact quote he said in training camp, but it was something about guys that came with me from Washington State know how to play like this style of defensive football better, which is like, yeah, obviously, but it is, it's good to hear the defense quarter say that. And it means that these Washington State guys are actually taking a step up that some of these other guys aren't. So it's just important to note. I think Schlimgen's right there to potentially be a starter. Then you have Carson Willich, who's been with Iowa State for a couple of years now. I think he's in his 4th year with the program, or he's been here forever. He's been pretty good. Hasn't really seen like a true starting spot, but he's had his moments. He's pretty solid player. Now, the one guy I really want to talk about, and I think the similarities are, there's a ton of them with Caden Crawford. He played at Duke, didn't play too much, transferred down to Austin P, was fantastic there, and now he's back at the Power 4 level. I've been saying this throughout the entire offseason. I think that Smith is probably the biggest X factor on this team because for Caden Crawford, if he doesn't work out, they still have a lot of edge rushers. The linebacker room, they aren't as deep. They need Montrez Smith to be good. They need a leader. He's kind of young, but I think he's a fantastic player. And he has a heck of an engine. And if he's able to get going, I feel really good about this Iowa State defense. And if he doesn't get going, I think I'm a little bit worried. So I love Smith. If I were to have to bet, I think that he's going to be great, but it's hard to say there.
I actually like this linebacking room a lot more than I did like 2 weeks ago. Just looking more and more into these guys and watching more and more film from their previous schools and last year.
Yeah,
like you're 100% right. Smith is, if he's good, this linebacker core will be so good.
100%.
And he's only a sophomore too.
Yeah.
So again, hitting back to like how young this roster really is. But I mean, last year 74 tackles total. 4 sacks, 3 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 1 touchdown as a linebacker.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, I get it's at Austin P, but I mean, still, like that's skill.
Yeah, it'll translate a little bit. I mean, it usually does translate. Just even if it's not, as big of a playmaker, it'll still translate into making tackles and being there, filling the gap, which is what you want from your linebacker positions.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot. This is like an NFL comp, but this reminds me a lot when the Bears signed Devin Bush. He's like a dude that can do it all. He can play coverage. He can also rush the passer. Somebody that is really a defense flipper and can like impact a season in such a huge way. Anything else from you, Taten, before I say one more thing?
I don't really have much to say other than the fact that you guys knocked it out of the park already. But like you mentioned, just a young group, especially I think Carson Willich is the only senior in the group. So it's going to be exciting to see them kind of grow together over the next year, 2 years.
Yeah. So a name that not a lot of people are talking about is Tristan Exline. And not a lot of people even know who he is. But you should, because he was the best defensive player in the nation in Division II last year. And yeah, it's Division II, but we've seen a lot of guys come from Division II and are able to make the exact football is football, ball is ball. They're able to make that jump, regardless if they came from the University of Texas Permian Basin or not. Or sorry, the UTPB is what I should have said. But 143 tackles last year, 20 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, and 1 interception.
20 tackles for loss?
Yes. Dude, he was
I've heard good things about him, but I did not know he was 20 tackles for loss. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he is a senior, so I guess Willich isn't the only senior, okay. But I mean, still, like, I don't think he will start, but a guy goes down, God forbid. You have a guy who's a senior that's experienced, who has shown he can be really good at D2. Yeah. I like him as a real good backup. So I think that there's even depth here with the linebackers.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, 20 tackles for loss.
When
I saw that, I was like, that's no way.
It's a pretty good stat. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. Yeah, I had to fact check. All right, Taten. I mean, you spoke offensive line into existence. Are you speaking the
Yeah,
wide receivers into existence too?
yeah. Sure. Give me the wideouts.
Oh
No
wow!
way.
Look at
No
this guy.
way. Let's go. Two for
Oh
two.
man,
2 for 2. Um, so
can't
for the
believe it.
wideouts, obviously, like you guys have mentioned many times, this is one of the explosive groups of the offense. It's going to be really fun to kind of watch over over this year. So I guess I'll kind of just start it off with the returner for now. Dominique Overby is going to be a great player again for the Cyclones. Was good last year. The only returning um, wide receiver in the room, so that'll be kind of interesting to see. But also, I guess without a returning quarterback, it doesn't really matter as much. So we'll kind of see on that one. But Omari Hayes is honestly, I think that's my pick of who I think is going to be my favorite wideout to watch.
Oh, I'm with you on that.
I love watching his film. I love watching the plays that he makes or made last year. I'm excited to see how that kind of translates into Iowa State's offense. Um, I think Jimmy Rogers is going to be able to put the ball in their hands in pretty great ways. So I'm excited to see what this group can do. But Omari Hayes is definitely my wideout to look for this season.
I love it. Tatum, do you know? I don't have the exact numbers off the top of my head, but do you know how he did in the college football playoff game last year?
Like I said, I don't have the exact numbers. I have
He had four
career or
catches for
season
like
stats
40
pulled up.
something yards.
I'll figure it out for
Yeah,
you
it
guys.
was something.
Yeah, he had. I mean, he had a decent game in a
He,
college football.
yeah, it was a great game and a game that really showed that he can play at that level, and I'm excited to see him come to the Big 12. Especially because, like we said, the Big 12 this year is we don't know what the Big 12 is going to look like. It could be a down year for some of these teams, and especially with Iowa State's schedule. I'm excited to see him work against some of these secondaries. I think he'll be able to translate very well into the Power Four play.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'll add something real quick. I'm a big fan of Evan Boyd, not just because I grew up as a Michigan State fan. He didn't really play much last year, but 2 catches for 40 yards against Indiana, the future national champions, on the road, I believe.
D'Angelo
Maybe not.
Pons
Maybe
couldn't
not.
hold him.
Yeah, exactly.
Short.
That's like, I mean, that's basically all he did the whole season. But like, 2 catches for 40 yards against Indiana, like that might be enough to get a starting spot at Iowa State today.
Football's
You
football.
know, yeah, exactly. I have him as my wide receiver 3 right now, along with Hayes as my number 1, and then as Cody Jackson as number 2, and then I think there's a couple guys off the bench. Overby could be solid. Jordan Bailey from TCU comes in. Who am I missing? Carter Paths from Washington State. Yeah, just a lot of good guys, a lot of guys that can compete.
Another room that's like sneaky deep, like the linebacker room, is
Very,
not
I think
like
probably the deepest room.
Very
on the team.
deep.
yes, for
Very,
sure. I
very
think
deep.
Yeah.
not a lot of people are ready for Omari Hayes.
And there are some
Like,
freshmen that are making some ridiculous
Mhm.
catches. Okay.
Yes.
So even though they might be like wide receiver 8 right now, like you never know.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited for this wide receiver room, and one person I'm actually like I don't want to say I'm more excited for than Amari Hayes, but I really like Cody Jackson.
Yeah.
He's older. He's 23 years old, so he's more experienced. He had a really good season last year. With let me see, 53 catches for 799 yards and 6 touchdowns. Yes, again, smaller school, but football is football. We probably said it 10 times during this show. But yeah, I mean,
So
even
much,
like
but
down to pass, like this, the depth is so important here. Like Overby, I would have no problem him stepping in if Jackson goes down and him immediately producing.
for sure.
So I'm really excited about this wide receiver core.
Agreed.
All right, we got 4 options left. Final 4, which Iowa State just cannot seem to make.
You really had to
No,
add
that's
that?
soon.
One
Someday
year,
soon.
one of these
Okay.
years, dude.
Feels like 44.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I don't really care who I get here, but I'll take the running backs.
There we go.
That's a good room.
It's a good room to talk about.
Yes, it is. Yeah, me and Lucca were talking about this room before we actually started the show a little bit, and I mean, all signs right now have been pointing towards Aiden Flora being the starter with the amount of reps he gets in practice. And everything else. But also, you've seen Cameron Petaway sort of climbing the depth chart throughout the year and him getting more and more reps, and to the point where I think they're almost splitting it now. The thing that I think Petaway has over Flora the most is his receiving upside. At Bowling Green, he caught. I have the stats here for you. At Bowling Green, maybe I don't. Well, he had like 300 yards receiving or something, and Aiden Flora,
He's an
even
underrated target.
exactly. And Aiden Flora, going back to high school, I mean, he played quarterback. We don't really have receiving stats we can look at because obviously he didn't play a lot in college so far. So we can't even look at high school to see if he caught the ball a lot as a running back.
Yeah.
But I think the receiving aspect of Petaway's game is going to be the difference maker when it comes to that battle. I also think that Petaway is just the better athlete. Not taking a lot away from Flora, though, because I think Flora is a really serviceable RB2 and could definitely, like, wouldn't skip a beat stepping into that RB1 position if Petaway does go down one of these games. Hopefully not the Bowling Green revenge game, because I mean, we might see a house kick return to start that game off from Petaway. That'd be something. But I mean, then just looking down the depth chart, Arnold Barnes, the third, I think would be a serviceable 3 competing with Allah there. But I think the 2 guys are just Petaway and Flora that you need to watch out for.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I wanted to add, I think Flora may be a better running back slightly, but I think Petaway is the better football player. It's kind of what I've been saying. He's better at receiving. He's better at returning, in my opinion. I know Flora's proven in the Big 12, but I think Petaway is just the better football player, and Flora's up there. Now, with all the Iowa State fans that I've interacted with, and I've talked about this, they are all very high on Flora, and the coaches are high on Flora as well. So I do think if I had to put money on it, I'd probably put Flora to start. But the reality is, I think that Iowa State fans have a little bit of bias because their entire roster got rinsed. The reality is, just because you keep a guy doesn't make him 10 times better than any transfer, right? Tons of respect for Flora for staying another year. Yeah. But if Petaway's a better football player, you have to start Petaway. There shouldn't be any bias towards Iowa State returners, especially in the way that I've seen, because I feel like there's a lot of players that just get a massive benefit of the doubt just because they're a returner. And the reality is, Cameron Petaway and Aiden Flora, that is a very close competition. I don't think it's Flora's job to lose. I think this is a very, very competitive group. And I don't think just because Flora's been at Iowa State for some time makes him like a clear favorite.
And I think we could see him even playing 2 different styles of running back and splitting reps between the whole season. I mean, we've seen that work plenty of times in offenses. And I think that if Petaway was maybe more of like a elusive, getting out there back, and then you use Flora as more of a workhorse. But also, we'll kind of see what they decide to do with that. I will just say Petaway coming with some more momentum off of last season. I mean, he was the MAC freshman of the year. I mean, just racking up awards from his freshman year at Bowling Green. I know it is the MAC, but it's still that's a boost. That's a boost of confidence, and he's coming up to the next level, Power 4, and with that confidence, we'll see what he's able to do there at the running back spot.
Yeah, and being named Petaway has been named to 2 awards lists. The Jet Award, which Caden Weegan from Iowa, which we know his ability, has won in the last 2 years, and then also the Paul Horing Award, which is the big one there for the running back position. And I think a lot of people, besides, I think the biggest thing here is that Iowa State as a whole, the community of Ames, Iowa State fans, everyone at Iowa State likes Flora. And then you look outside of Iowa State at the non-biased parties and everything, and everyone likes Petaway. Exactly. And I think that tells you something. What you were saying, Lucca, about if the transfer is better, the transfer has to start.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think Petaway is the better player or athlete, maybe not running back. But so big thing to watch going into this season. But
it'll be it'll be a fun competition. They'll be able to push each other this way, and I think it'll just do nothing but better them both as football players. I think that it's going to be a fun competition to watch through the year.
Well said.
Exactly. All right, Lucca, we're down to 3.
All right.
Which
this is my last one, huh?
This is your last one. What do you want to end it off on?
I would love to talk about my classmate, Jalen Rayner. That would be pretty fun.
Classmate. Okay.
Classmate.
What class do you have with him?
Sports media class. He raised his
Oh,
hand
really?
today and said that he used Instagram more than Twitter. So I'm kind of unfortunate he hasn't seen my tweets, but it's okay, I
Well,
guess.
unfortunately, you don't get to talk about your boy, so
I like
quarterback it
quarterbacks
is.
too. There's a lot of guys here, a lot of guys from very different situations, which I think is really really nice. I mean, that's kind of story of Iowa State as a whole, but I think the cornerback room really like says it more than anything. Now, obviously, you have David Coffey, who's a returner, a team captain, I believe. He was at media day. I mean, this guy's great. He's been pretty impactful for Iowa State the last couple of years. Now you're bringing in Jaheim Singletary from Arkansas, who, yeah, Arkansas isn't great in the SEC, but he's played some really important football games. He's played against all these top. Can't remember off the top of my head because but he's played multiple seasons of getting decent reps. And he's played some pretty decent SEC football teams in some pretty competitive games. So I think that experience is very valuable. And then you have Seth Johnson, who I think is pretty good as well. He came from Montana State. He's a national champion. I don't know if any of you guys watched the FCS national championship, but when they blocked the field goal to then go, or was it to win the game or to go on to win the game or something in like overtime?
It was to go on. Yeah, it was to go on to win the game.
Exactly. The guy who recovered that ball was Seth Johnson. Very random, but kind of cool. I remember watching that play, so it's cool that he's on Iowa State. It's pretty impactful last year. There's just a lot of good players, and I can see any of them starting. But I'm pretty sure that Coffey will definitely be a starter.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on the special teams aspect. If you want to like play, you got to be able to play special teams too, especially if you're an incoming transfer.
Yeah.
And so his ability to play special teams is a huge part of it. I actually really like Seth Johnson as well. Unfortunately, I did not watch that championship game. Sort of regretting it now. I know. Now
Missed
I sound like
out.
a casual, but
it was a heck of a game. I don't watch.
It was a great.
It was a heck of a game.
I watched that one about it. That's about the only FCS game I watch every year, but it's so fun.
Yeah, and besides like maybe a Drake or game there here and there or something. Those jerseys might have me.
So nice.
They're so cool.
They might have me come back. Drake jerseys and Tulane's new jerseys are like
the Mardi Gras.
Yeah, which is like crazy that I'm putting those two teams in like the same conversation. I never thought I'd say that in the same sentence, but yeah, no, Seth Johnson, he's from what I've seen from his footage is he's really good against the run as well, which is really valuable, especially in a defense that blitzes a lot. Someone who's able to blitz but also can play the run instead of take the foot off the pedal, sort of slow it down and watch for the running back is really important. But Jaheim Singletary, I think, is really interesting because he's like this dude that was supposed to be like the dude. Number 8 in Florida, number 8 in the country at cornerback coming out of high school.
Was he really? Wow.
Yeah. 4-star. One of the highest recruits Iowa State's ever brought in from his high school recruiting phase. Went to Georgia, then went to West Virginia, I want to say. No. Arkansas. My bad. I'm thinking of someone else that went to West Virginia. I'm thinking of Keon Washington. But went to Arkansas. But like some of the offers that Singletary had out of college or out of high school, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Florida State, Miami, LSU, Michigan, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Penn State, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and more. So this dude
the guy can play ball.
High school. Yes. It's just the question of what happened is the biggest thing. And so because the past 3 seasons, 54 tackles, 1 interception, 7 pass breakups, which is good for one season. I mean, that's like a good one season, really.
Maybe two.
Maybe two. But a guy of that caliber, you sort of expect more. So I'm really hoping he can sort of figure it out at Iowa State. Maybe it's just the defensive scheme that he needs to match his style more. But yeah, I mean, those are the 2 big names that I really like. And then just really quick, again, this room is so young. A lot of freshmen that we brought in. So I'm very excited for the future of the cornerbacks.
Agreed.
All right, Taten, you got a 50-50 chance here. Quarterbacks or defensive tackles? Who do we like more?
I'm good with talking about either. I'd like to actually talk about the defensive line group. Let's give me the tackles.
You'll get tackles.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can go 3 for 3 on the day.
Be crazy. Doesn't do it.
No, I do not. But it's all right because this position really isn't too difficult to talk about other than Jalen Rayner. I mean, That's the starting quarterback. That's the guy. It's going to be super fun to watch him. I'm excited. I've been excited since the minute he signed. I remember Arkansas State and Iowa State playing last year, and Rayner he played a phenomenal game. I thought I was amazed by it, and I was also sitting there at home, kind of an angry fan, watching him do what I mean, that shouldn't have been as close of a game, and it was a close game there for a minute because of Jalen Rayner. And it's that kind of playmaking that it's got me excited for what he can do at Iowa State. Got me excited for what he can do with his legs. It's going to be a ton of fun to watch throughout the year. And then also, to fill out the depth chart, Zane Flores, a great backup option, transferred in. Connor Moberly stuck around. That's something I really like to see. I'm super high on the Iowa guys. I was really bummed when JJ Cole had to go.
Oh my gosh! I was just about to say, what happened to JJ Cole?
I was so bummed about that.
So real quick, he's at so there's this guy I went to high school with named Zach Marker that played quarterback at Norwalk. He was at Delaware, transferred to FIU, and he's competing with a starting job with JJ Cole. So FIU has two Iowa natives.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, that is kind of weird actually. FIU must be an Iowa pipeline. But yeah, like I said, I'm excited. I like the Iowa guys. I like Connor Moberly a lot. I liked him when he was at Southeast Polk. I thought he's a fun quarterback to watch. So I mean, he's a great depth chart guy. Now he's up to his redshirt sophomore year, so I don't really know what kind of happens. But I guess Rayner's a senior, so there have to be a change at the quarterback position next year. But we'll kind of see what happens with that. But for now, Jalen Rayner's the guy, and I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to go on another tangent here real quick because every time I say a good thing about Zane Flores, everybody says that he's trash. He was a Power 4 starter last year. Jalen Rayner wasn't a Power 4 starter last year. There are a lot of good – I'm not saying he's better than Jalen Rayner. He's obviously not. But to say that he's a trash quarterback is not true. He was under Mike Gundy, which is not easy in the first place. The whole team was horrible. Yeah, he wasn't great, but he wasn't horrible on the ground. He did showcase little things. He was a Power 4 starting quarterback. We have a Power 4 starting quarterback as a backup. That is a good backup to have. There are a lot of teams with a lot worse backups. Absolutely. So I just don't think Zane Flores deserves that much hate. Now, is he that good? Probably not. But let's not pretend that he's not a decent football player just because he had bad stats in a really tough position.
Yeah, stats don't always tell the whole truth.
It could be interesting.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it could be interesting for next season too, because Flores is just a sophomore. Moberly is just a sophomore, and they're probably gonna get somebody through the transfer portal or probably pick up some freshman who's really good. But you never really know what happens after this year. Rayner is done, so there could be a good battle there for next season, and Flores could develop into another good Power 4 quarterback, like you said. He's been there before. It's a question mark right now based on his first year there at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is, like you mentioned it, he's so young, a sophomore. Maybe all he needs is just to sit a year and enjoy learning an offense instead of having to start right away. Maybe that's all it takes.
Position too.
Exactly.
Very
hard.
Yeah.
Yes, and obviously we don't know how QB friendly this team's gonna be. I don't imagine it's gonna be too difficult for a QB to learn. This isn't Sean McVay's offense. We're not it's not anything crazy, but I'm very excited for having a backup of his caliber, and then Connor Moberly as well. I think they'll be interesting next year. But also, I think the biggest thing that not a lot of people I feel like are talking about enough is the duality of Jalen Rayner's game. And Rocco Beck last year, 7.1 carries per game, 86 total carries on the year, 9.6 yards per game, averaged just over half a touchdown per game. But then you look at Jalen Rayner's stats, and 11.8 carries a game, 32.5 yards per game, also half a touchdown. But he ran way more than Rocco Beck did last year. So he's used to running, but he's also a pretty decent passer. So that duality is really important, I think. And I think Jimmy Rogers, I mean, there was a quote, I don't remember the exact quote, but when it was Big 12 Media Days, Rogers said something along the lines of, it's really important to have a quarterback that is able to make those off-platform throws on the run, who is able to sort of create if he needs to, get out of the pocket and make his own yardage. Um, I think that I think all signs are pointing towards he's going to run a lot at quarterback. And I'm really excited for that because I think as the game evolves, you've already seen it in the NFL and college football is starting to catch on. Well, I guess I'd be the other way. I'd say college football sort of was the birthplace really of running quarterbacks, in my opinion. But it's such a big part of the game now, and I'm glad that we have someone who can actually do it instead of a guy who's just chilling in the pocket like a Kirk Cousins and can't do anything because that's hard watch. So.
And odds are he's going to have to do it with it. I mean, the offensive line, like we've mentioned so many times in our first two shows, 15 total starts between the whole offensive line. He's probably going to have to be pretty mobile. So that'll be kind of interesting to see. Going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, one thing here, as you spin the wheel here. One thing I wanted to add real quick is that I made a tweet a couple weeks ago. I couldn't find it, but there are only 3 quarterbacks in the nation that had, I think it's 3,000 passing yards and 400 rushing yards or something like that. At least that. It's Trinidad Chambliss, I believe Drew Mestamaker, and Jalen Raynor. Now, is he as good as those 2 quarterbacks? Probably not, but it just shows he's very proven. He's done it for years, and he is, I think, a pretty freaking good dual threat quarterback.
That's a pretty good list to be a part of there, Mestamaker and Chambliss.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if you guys know, though, but I got defensive tackle.
So
no more wheel. But, yeah, so defensive tackle is something that I like a lot. I think the defensive line as a whole, we already mentioned it with the edge rushers, and the edge rushers are a really good group, but also the defensive line is a pretty good group. The biggest thing I can say about the defensive line that sort of introduced me to how good they could be is I got College Football 27, the game. Immediately got to hop into the Iowa State dynasty, right? Rebuild this team. But the defensive line was like constantly stopping the run, getting so many pressures. And I was like, okay, is this actually going to be a thing? Did a little bit of research. I think it will be. I think Zamir Hawk isn't going to be Dominique Orange, but he could be a run stuffer like Dominique Orange, sort of fill that gap a little bit. Maybe not to the caliber of the 3rd round pick to my Minnesota Vikings, by the way. But like, Bryson Lamb following Jimmy Rogers. Max, is it Balloon?
Yeah.
Following Jimmy Rogers. Bring his guys over, and I'm really high on those 2 guys, Bryson and Max. I think that they're able to get pass rush, but also play the run. I like how every single defensive tackle is able to do both. And I think that's really important, especially with some of the running backs they're going to be going up against. I mean, we already went over it with Cam at West Virginia. That's going to be something. And if they can stop a guy like that or stop Iowa's run game with their 2 guys they got out there, the team out east, it's going to be something that's going to be really important for the success of this Iowa State team.
There's a lot of good running backs in the Big 12, so if they can stop them, they'll be just fine.
That's true.
Sure. Well, that is the entire wheel. Anything else? It was. I think we can get a little bit more interactive with some more. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to hit on that maybe we just didn't talk about, or any players that you feel like didn't get mentioned that we're really high on? None?
The only thing I think
we touched about everything.
I think so.
The only thing I'll say is do not talk to me on Saturday because I will be watching college football every second.
It's finally back. It's finally back.
Yeah. It should be a national holiday.
Oh,
that should be
the start of the NFL season. Just give us a national holiday.
It doesn't get much better than that, baby.
They're giving anything a national holiday nowadays, right? So
might as well.
Well, we're still waiting on Super Bowl Sunday to be a national holiday, so I guess as soon as we can get that.
Why do we have to go back to class?
Nah,
come on,
unbelievable, unbelievable.
I'll go up to the school that shall not be named out east sometimes because I got some friends out there, and we'll watch the Super Bowl, and then I got to drive back Monday at 6 a.m. to make a 8:30, 9 a.m. class. That's come on, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well,
But
all right. Thank you guys so
yeah.
much for tuning in. Had an absolute blast. And yeah, we will see you guys next time.